and House Budget Committee member, Texas Congressman Brandon Gill. It's great to see you, Congressman. So this vote is going to be happening this hour, where it's expected that 10 Democrat senators, as they did to vote to end debate on the bill in the Senate, 10 Democrat senators will vote with the Republicans to break the filibuster, keep the government open and funded through September. They were worried about Elon Musk coming in and deciding who's essential and who isn't, and slicing and dicing the federal government. But this continuing resolution also gives incredible power to the Republicans and President Trump and the administration. Because as the New York Times wrote, unlike regular spending bills, temporary extensions do not explicitly direct how the federal funding levels that lawmakers set should be allocated. So there's a lot of leeway, not restrictive, on the Republicans. And there's even talk about impounding some federal dollars, which Russ Vought and the president want to do. How do you see it?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. You know, I'm glad that there are enough Democrats in the Senate who are willing to put this country over political interests. You know, the only reason that we're in this shutdown showdown is that Democrats have no message right now. Everything that they believe in is getting beaten by President Trump and is wildly unpopular with the American people. The American people don't want open borders. President Trump is closing our borders. They don't want men and women's sports, and we're getting them out. They don't want to see their communities completely destroyed by drugs and drug cartels that are coming across our southern border. We are winning on every single front. And the Democrats are in a position right now where all they can do is try to force some kind of political show with our budget that is harmful to the American people. This is a good continuing resolution. It provides $500 million for border security that we need. It also provides the largest pay raise for junior enlisted servicemen in 40 years. This is exactly what the American people are wanting, and the Democrats are just playing political games here. But I'm glad enough of them came around to keep the government open.
Yeah, you know what, Congressman, I'm not sure I trust them. Call me the ultimate skeptic here. I think there's a bit of survivalism, and they didn't want the president and Elon Musk, as Dagan pointed out, making decisions on who's essential, locking the doors, letting them in for 15 minutes to pick up their stuff with a security guard nearby. This is the practicality of politics in D.C. Now, all this resistance, all of that's going on out there, and you're out there in your districts, your home, stemming from Doge, stemming from Trump's willingness or unwillingness to cave. I wonder how they would feel if they knew that their party's hero had a very similar initiative during his term. This is a gem. Let's watch this.
What should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters. I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. You're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you. That's why, starting today, I've asked the Vice President to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every agency and department of this government. We're calling it the Campaign to Cut Waste, and I know Joe's the right man to lead it, because nobody messes with Joe.
Congressman, I bet if they were transgender fiddlers, he would have had a different view, but what's your reaction?
You know, I'm glad to hear that President Obama and Democrats at one point in time wanted to cut waste, fraud, and abuse from the federal government. As you can tell, they completely failed at any effort that they tried there. You know, the reality is that President Trump and what he's doing with Doge and Elon Musk is completely unprecedented. And this should be a bipartisan effort. Republicans and Democrats should both be able to come together and say that we don't want our federal tax dollars paying for instance, transgender surgeries in Guatemala or DEI scholarships in Serbia or other forms of blatant fraud and abuse. The American people support this effort. This is an 80-20 issue, but the Democrats are fighting us every single step of the way because they've got nothing left to fall back on. The American people know that our government is broke, that we are $37 trillion in debt, that President Trump inherited a government that is running $2 trillion annual deficits, and he is actually doing something about it to get this wasteful spending under control. And it is novel, it's unique, it's a great effort, and he's doing a phenomenal job with it, and the American people are 100% behind him.
Because Biden and cronies brought us to the brink of financial ruin. Earlier this afternoon, and speaking of ruin, President Trump addressed the Department of Justice that not long ago tried to ruin, destroy him, and was weaponized against him. Listen to this.
Unfortunately, in recent years, a corrupt group of hacks and radicals within the ranks of the American government obliterated the trust and goodwill built up over generations. They weaponized the vast powers of our intelligence and law enforcement agencies to try and thwart the will of the American people. Our predecessors turned this Department of Justice into the Department of Injustice. But I stand before you today to declare that those days are over, and they are never going to come back. They're never coming back.
It's not just what they did to President Trump and his family. He went through all of the people who were targeted, including elderly people who were praying in front of abortion clinics.
That's right. What President Trump and Pam Bondi are doing at the Department of Justice is the biggest restoration of justice and rule of law in this country in at least 100 years. For 4 years, Joe Biden and the Democrats weaponized every single arm of the federal government, including the Justice Department, against the American people, in particular against their political enemies. And he mentioned a few of them. We can also remember the parents who didn't want their children being indoctrinated in their schools, or the Catholics who celebrate the Latin Mass that the Department of Justice and the federal government under Joe Biden went after. That was gross, it was disgusting, and it absolutely destroyed faith of the American people in the rule of law in this country and in the institution of the Department of Justice. President Trump is restoring that. He's bringing back impartiality back to our justice system, and he is not targeting the American people anymore. He is targeting the enemies of the American people. Drug cartels, illegal aliens who are murdering, raping, and slaughtering our people, and other criminals across the country. This is something that we should be celebrating, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
You know, Congressman, you've proposed stopping the Chinese from and our foreign adversaries, for that matter, from buying American land and strategic farmland, because it matters where it's located. Over 277,000 acres of American land bought by the Chinese Communist Party, some of it, again, strategically close to our bases, sensitive installations, and even agriculture is sensitive.
Yes, the bill that I propose today is a reciprocal agreement. It says that if a foreign country will not allow American citizens to buy land in their country, then we will not allow their people to buy land in ours. And we know that the most prolific offender here is China and the CCP, which, by the way, is our #1 geopolitical adversary. It makes no sense to allow Chinese nationalists, anybody tied to the CCP in any way whatsoever to purchase any farmland in the United States, much less near United States military bases. This is basic common sense. It's just that if they have these restrictions on our people, we should have these restrictions on theirs. And it protects the American people from hostile adversaries abroad. This is legislation that I think should have been enacted in the past, and we're hoping to push it forward quickly here.
Get on it.